It's great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. Appreciate our customers and partners also taking time and spending the day and a half here with us. Before I begin, I have two co-conspirators with me in this room. One is Vinod Nair. If you haven't had a chance to say hi to Vinod, Vinod runs both our mission-critical facilities, our data centers, and they use all Eaton products. We consider ourselves as customer zero for Eaton products. So if you haven't had a chance to say hi, Vinod, then you can talk to him about our experiences using our power quality, power distribution, as well as our digital platforms, Brightlayer, both at data center at the edge. And then we have our deputy CISO, Jason Kohler. I'm sure you ran into him. Maybe he lost his jacket last night? No? You good? Okay, you behaved. All right. So if you have any cyber-related questions, Jason's going to answer it and not me. All right. So with that, so the topic that was given to me is let's talk about AI and cybersecurity. So I'll probably spend more time talking about AI because I think that's more fun. And I don't know about cybersecurity, but it is needed. So we'll touch on that as well. So there's no doubt that AI is transforming how businesses and consumers are leveraging AI to operate their enterprises or in their personal lives and so on and so forth. Some of the stats that you see here, more than 75% of organizations today using Gen AI are using that at least in one of their business processes. And I know for sure in Eaton we are using it more than and more than one. And as they become more sophisticated, as they become more faster, they're becoming more multimodal. It's text, it's video, it's voice. The inference rates are really improving. The last time I was doing some research on ChatGPT versus Llama versus Gemini, they're moving from sort of billions of parameters they're using to make their models better and slowly getting into the trillions of parameters. So the amount of research and innovation that is happening in this space is sort of really staggering. And then agentic AI is taking over everything, right? And soon agent-to-agent interaction. And we are sort of deploying some agents in some of our critical functions as well, and I'll touch on that a little bit. Companies like Eaton, we are moving from sort of the pilot phase to deploying more at an enterprise scale. And there are some statistics here that talks about 21% of the organizations are using Gen AI to redesign their workplace. It is just not, let's take what we have today and plug in AI, but it's fundamentally rethinking how we operate and how we work and how do we make and add more value both to our customers, to our employees and partners and so on and so forth. Just as an example, right? Microsoft Copilot for us went from pilot to enterprise scale in 12 months. We started with couple of hundred users. For the first time, we also started with our C-suite. We never deployed new technology to our C-suite. We try to test it, run it to the ground before we deployed, but not in this situation. It was painful, but we did it. But now we have more than 10,000 people, employees on Microsoft Copilot, right? And we are very proud of that fact because it's now really embedded in how we do work. And that represents, I think, close to maybe 20% of our, I want to say, people that have these technology assets, right? And it's continues to grow year over year. And the way we are thinking about it is, we are placing bets both on everyday use of AI. That's what is putting AI in everybody's hands, so they get to know, get a feel of it. But at the same time, encouraging them to think about big bets, right? And big bets here are how do we achieve those bigger business outcomes? How do we increase our revenue? How do we increase our profitability, improve our cash flow, improve customer experience, improve employee experience, and so on and so forth. So we started with everyday AI, but we have not let go of everyday AI, but at the same time, transforming the way we think about AI in placing big bets. Investments, as you can see here, in AI is just unprecedented. I was not able to get an accurate number. I looked at various sources, as I quoted here, and the numbers are all over the place. I landed on 600 billion, right? And global spending in terms of AI, large companies and all the usual suspects. In US alone, the number that I got was close to about 110 billion in AI. That's about 12 times more than what sort of China is investing in just in 2025. Interesting fact about medical devices. I was looking at the FDA website for something else, and I realized that FDA has approved about 200 and I think the number changed overnight. It's 290 plus medical devices that are AI capable. So think about you visiting your physician's office and they're doing a scan or an X-ray or something, and 9 times out of 10, the first person or first thing to see your scan is an AI. Right, radiologists are using AI for quick inferences, and their productivity is improving. The detection rate of anomalies is all improving, and that translates into every medical field, every medical opportunity. And I thought, but that was an amazing fact that I thought was is also going to change the way how we think about healthcare and so on and so forth. There are challenges, right? And there are common barriers that we are seeing across the industry. Companies, like in the manufacturing space, we have a lot of legacy infrastructure. And there's an amazing conversation about OT yesterday and the challenges of OT cybersecurity. It all adds up over time. Data quality is a big challenge, and there is an immense amount of focus within the company today to consider data as a critical asset, and how do we improve the quality of data. Talent is another one. We are all learning as we go, and we're trying to keep up as much as possible, but finding people that can think how AI can help us improve businesses and improve our outcomes, so on and so forth. Regulatory complexities, you see there's 9x increase in the amount of regulations related to AI just in the past year. Last, but if you think about the maturity, how do you counter the threats related to AI? That is still a big opportunity for all of that. So why it matters is that clearly AI is no longer exponential. It is transforming operations. It's transforming productivity and decision making. What is key for us here is how do we balance the speed of innovation with the right amount of cybersecurity and governance in place. All right, let me move on here. Again, feel free to stop me at any time. I don't really have to go through all the content, but I'd rather have a dialogue here with you folks. So again, this one for me, again, we have a conversation within our team. Are we really ready? Right? The pace of change here, again, as you see, is exponential. ChatGPT, I hope we all remember what we were doing the exact day ChatGPT was released. I do. I'm really a geek that way, right? I'm like, what the hell is this? Right? It's going to change our lives. And I was chatting with my son who, are you guys using this in your school and all that? He's like, oh, you're late to the game, sort of thing, right? So GPT reached 100 million users in 2 months. Instagram took 2.5 years to reach the same amount of users, and Netflix took 10 years, right? 2 months. That's the rate of, it's just mind-boggling to just see the amount of adoption ChatGPT got just in a couple months. And I thought, okay, we're going to be in this space for some time, and then comes agentic. I'm like, what is happening here? And now in 2026, we're talking about other capabilities beyond agentic. We're talking about agent-to-agent interaction. We're talking about human general AI and so on and so forth. So why is this disconnect? Right? 97% of companies saying that there is an urgency to deploy AI, whereas only 14% feel that they are AI ready. The urgency is rising because of the competitive pressures. It's no longer, okay, let's do this. It's a nice thing to have. It's considered as a competitive advantage. It's becoming baseline expectations, right? The way we change work, the way we think about going about doing our work, if we have, for example, even the function that I run within IT, we deal with a lot of critical infrastructure. And what I'm asking my team is, how can we make this infrastructure self-driving? It is not just be proactive about making this mission critical infrastructure available to our consumers, but how do you make it self-driving? How do you make it more predictive? So it's becoming sort of the baseline expectation, right? It may not be ready, but at least the expectations are there, right? Because I am going to all these sessions such as these, I'm hearing people speak about that, and I'm like, what are we doing? When are we going to bring this? So that there's a lot of pressure from that perspective and becoming baseline expectation. And the fact that it's becoming a core differentiator and it's not a no longer a nice to have. The challenges that I mentioned about legacy, infrastructure, data, talent, is there ROI on the investment that we are making? That is a big question, right? That's a big question that we are talking about right now. And how do you measure the ROI on the investments that we are making? And while we have executive buy-in on the investment, the conversations are going beyond just the investment and focusing on, okay, now let's talk about the return on that investment. So what are companies like us doing to sort of close this gap? We're making sure that our AI roadmap and our AI strategy is really intertwined with our business strategy. It is, how do we achieve these business outcomes, these business goals, and how do we make AI as a core part of achieving that business strategy? I mentioned about data. Anytime we talk about AI, it's always data and AI, and it's a critical asset that we are really focusing on so that we can do better AI down the road as well. A lot of effort in cross-functional AI literacy. It's not just IT, it's all the other functions and the functional leaders talking about AI and understanding how it can really help improve their operations. And last but not the least, it's really strong governance framework. Again, a cross-functional governance framework is needed to increase that 14% number. Again, unprecedented investment, $1 trillion worth of AI deals have been made. So really squiggly diagram here, and if you really want to see how this was built up, the source of this one is CNBC. Everybody's investing everywhere. I don't know whether it's the same $1 billion rotating. Sometimes I get confused, but $500 billion Stargate, $300 billion OpenAI and Oracle, Microsoft investing in OpenAI, and then there's CoreWeave in the middle of everything. So it's all becoming one giant ecosystem. It's interesting how this is evolving. And again, this is just OpenAI, thinking about the amount of investment they make. And I'm not complaining. None of us in Eaton are complaining. What it means is we need more data centers. We need more power quality, more power distribution, more things that we need to put physically to enable all of that. So we are estimating that there's going to be a 4 to 6x increase in the amount of data center power capacity measured in gigawatts here. So this is exciting for us, and we are in the sweet spot for providing supporting our customers and enabling them to build these capabilities rapidly. AI is not perfect. I'm sure you guys have seen all these examples. I'm from the Detroit area, so my favorite one is the Chevy chatbot recommending a Ford. Can you imagine that happening? Imagine the reputational risk. Somebody is going and saying, hey, I want a pickup truck. Tell me which is the best pickup truck available, and the Chevy chatbot saying, go buy a Ford F-150, right? So that is the risk that is there today. And there are other examples. Apple saying that some prime minister was arrested, but it was not true. It was just making stuff up, right? So this is where the real challenge is in terms of how companies are leveraging AI, and this is what is making the importance of cybersecurity and governance and data even more critical to be for this to be a success. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit now about the Eaton story. We are making a really bold shift at Eaton. We are embedding AI into how we do work on a day-to-day basis. It is core to our strategy. It's going to be core to our operations. It is how we will achieve our business outcomes. It is not just another thing. It is how we will achieve our business outcomes and create value both internally as well as externally. The way to think about this is we are focusing on three main areas. I'll touch on enterprise AI. Again, it's about all the functions. You think about creating a digital thread for example, a process such as how do I purchase all the way to paying our suppliers, right? How do I get an order all the way to how do I get the payment from our customers? We are thinking about creating a digital thread that's built on data and AI across the board, and how is AI going to help make that process more efficient, not just the process, but also achieve better outcomes. I have one example I'll share later. The other one is how do we make the products that we design and sell and service and solutions to our customers, how do we make them more intelligent? And since a lot of our products are already connected, the insights we get from the data, how can they help our customers and serve our end markets to do whatever they are meant to do, right? So if we have an energy meter deployed in the field, the data coming from the energy meter, will it help our customers to save energy cost, right? It's building intelligence into our products. And last but not this, there's a heavy focus of engineering and design in the company. How can we make our engineers' life easier? How do we speed up the time it takes from design to manufacturing? How do we improve speed to market? Simple things like AI-assisted design. Can we use AI-assisted simulation? Do we have to run the simulation over and over and again, or can we use physics AI to not do a few rounds of simulation and get from point A to point Z quickly using AI? So there are many areas that we are exploring within the company. So again, it becomes core part of how we operate. I borrowed this slide from our CEO, Paulo, when he was talking to the New York analyst in terms of how AI is going to make our company more faster and profitable. And he spoke about several areas like customers. We talk about customer service. We are talking about sales. We are talking about opportunity pipeline. We are talking about how we can do quotes faster, so on and so forth. There's one example where we have something called the AI spec reader. So we make a lot of engineer-to-order products for the data center segment. As an example, it has a lot of panel boards and things like that. Each panel board is engineer-to-order. So today what happens is a customer sends in a requirement, a person sits and thinks about, okay, how am I going to design this panel? What are the components I'm going to put in? They spend hundreds of hours doing that. So instead, think about AI using something like what we are calling as a similarity engine. Hey, we have already done something like this in the past. Can we build not from the ground up, but start from point 10, not from point 0, right? Here is a template that you can already use, and that way we can configure or engineer the product faster, create a code faster, meet the customer requirements faster, and so on and so forth. So that's the example here to say that's really helping us in improving our sales engineers' productivity. And we are not doing this alone, and I think this is very critical for us, right? We are working with a robust partner ecosystem. It is a collaborative effort. It is not just the product is ready and then we are using it. We are working with them to co-create in some cases. We are creating this value together with our partnership as well. And it's not going to be possible without that strong collaboration that we have with our strategic partners. The kind of investments that they are making is something that we are really leveraging in this space. So I'm doing a plug for IT. We are sort of the eye of the storm here. The IT organization, we understand what the new market realities are, right? We spoke about all of that in my first slide. And then, our senior leadership has really set the tone by what are the outcomes we want to achieve in the next strategic plan period for the company. Paulo announced that we want to grow into a $38 billion company in our strat plan period while managing costs, right? So here is a great opportunity for AI to play a role. And then within the organization, we have strategic initiatives in what we call as operating for growth, and how do we lead, invest, and execute for growth, and how does AI become a core part of all of that? So we know what the market reality is, what the outcomes that we need to achieve. So we organize ourselves into what we call as AI factories, right? These are dedicated. You can think of AI pods by function. So supply chain will have an AI pod. Engineering will have an AI pod. Other functions like HR and so on and so forth. So we have dedicated teams, agile teams that can move really forward, that have the technology capabilities, that have the process expertise. It has sponsorship and championship from that particular function. So it's not just an IT team, it's a sort of a cross-functional team that is enabling us to move faster in deploying our IT strategy. And so far it has worked, and each factory is also measured by the outcomes they are achieving. Right? If it is engineering, how do you improve speed to market? How do you improve design timing, and so on and so forth? If it is supply chain and manufacturing, in the shop floor, how can we do better scheduling of our manufacturing capacity, and so on and so forth? So that's how we are sort of attacking this and organizing ourselves to sort of meet the commitments that we have made. I mentioned one example about big bets. We are really doubling down on this digital thread, right? And if you look at the process from left to right, from sales all the way to service, and how we are achieving that, and how we are embedding AI in each one of those critical processes, right? And it's not just, I gave you the example of the spec reader, and the spec reader and ETO automation, and how do you improve accuracy, how do you improve efficiency, or reusing your designs, and finally resulting in end user or the sales team productivity. But it's also in the manufacturing shop floor, right? Improving on-time delivery, productivity of folks on the shop floor, using, for example, Vision AI to improve quality, and finally, all of that is helping us to manage our inventory process as well. And then, recently we deployed something called the Eaton Digital Assistant, which is an AI-powered capability for our support engineers. So while they are on the call, they can easily use information available to them based on what the customer needs. And then we went one step ahead and sort of exposed this agent to our customers as well, this digital agent, so they can directly interact and get information. And while we have the human in the loop, we'll still have improved satisfaction of the customers, because they get these answers more quickly, right? And it's also sort of shifting left and redirecting calls and so on and so forth. That is something that we are sort of built the foundation last year, and we're building on top of that. And we are taking a similar concept and deploying that internally within the company. And a couple of weeks ago, we deployed something called, our intranet is called Joe. So we deployed a capability called Ask Joe, where, I used it recently. This is the season where we have to go and do our benefits. It's really complicated and confusing. You have to click to like 10 websites. I don't know if you guys have used it. Then I just use it, hey, how do I do this stuff, right? And it was laying the instructions in a very simple, easy to digest manner. And so it just makes my life easier. It improves my productivity. I don't have to go read 10 documents or 3 presentations to know what to do. So those are the kinds of things we are doing at Eaton, where it's not just customer facing, but it's also employee facing. And again, making sure that everybody has access to this capability. Okay. Now we have a few more minutes here. Um, Securing AI. Um, just a quick poll. You guys know what this is? Anybody wants to take a guess? Go ahead, Jesse. Mona Lisa. A little bit more.
It's a painting by Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonardo
It's
da
in the
Vinci.
Louvre in Paris.
Okay. All right. However, this is not the one by Leonardo da Vinci. This was created by Midjourney AI. Okay. What is this then? Is that the real Mona Lisa? We don't know, right? Maybe, maybe not. So this is what is happening because of AI. This is the threat, right? So one of this is real, I think. The other is clearly AI generated. But what if I tell you that both are AI generated? Okay? So what does it take to create a deep fake like this? In my mind, you need two things. You just think about if you are a painter and you're going to recreate the Mona Lisa, right? What do you need to be? You need to be the best painter, like Leonardo DiCaprio. Sorry, not Leonardo da Vinci. Did I say DiCaprio? Da Vinci. Right? Yeah, maybe. Right? So, so we have AI models that are really good fake painters today. Okay, so now you really painted the Mona Lisa. So who else do you need to tell you whether this looks like the real Mona Lisa? You need an art critic, right, or an art expert. And now you have models that are the best art critics. So you have them talk to each other, and what are you going to produce? You're going to produce a really really close replica of the Mona Lisa. And that is what is happening in terms of the threats that we are seeing today. Right? So you saw this, maybe you guys read this example of a video call that happened in Hong Kong where the teams were chatting with the CEO of a company, through video chat, like a Teams meeting. They thought they were chatting with the CEO of the company, but they were just chatting with a deep fake. And the CEO asked them, hey, transfer this $25 million to this account. I want you guys to do right now. It's super urgent, blah, blah, blah. And the people did it. And it was deep fake. Right? And there's so many examples, all these spam emails that we are seeing. AI and human in the loop spam emails have a 55% click-through rate. Right? And that's a big number. And the human in the loop is really acting as the critic in this case. And the more, I'm sure there'll be another AI that's going to replace, a model that's going to replace that human in the loop as well. But the rate of spam click-through is just unbelievable. That is the real threat that we are facing because of AI. So what is the role of cybersecurity professionals here, right? How do we protect against the use of AI by threat actors who are using AI for these threat vectors, but also cybersecurity professionals enhancing our cybersecurity posture by using AI, and then talking about how do you secure this AI. So these are kind of the three pillars that we are focusing at Eaton. I think I have like one or two more slides, and I think I'm running out of time here. I'll be very quick. We're focusing on the user awareness. A lot of user campaigns going on today in terms of how to use Gen AI more safely. Don't put your, confidential IP-related information in Copilot or GPT or wherever, right? Don't do that, right? Don't download stuff, AI models and so on and so forth. We have sort of created a ring fence approach to endpoint security. And so that we can do some behavior analysis. We're blocking, hundreds of thousands of malicious sites and so on and so forth every month. Threat behavior detection is something that our teams are focusing on. We are sort of using agents in red teams to sort of predict what is going to happen. So that's another activity that we are pursuing. And then we have multiple sort of layers of email protection for phishing and spear phishing and so on and so forth. So some examples here on AI systems, how we are using threat report summarization so that we can quickly get to what is a real threat for the company, as well as I mentioned about using AI agents to simulate adversary behavior and threat behaviors and so on and so forth. So I think I'm out of time here, but if I can spare a few minutes, I'm open for. I have 5 more minutes. Okay, just open it up for Q&A. I don't have any more slides here, I think. Yep. Thank you. Yes,
I have a question.
yeah.
What do you think about innovative technology as far as using blockchain, non-fungible tokens for like artwork and music to legitimize it, even like a Browns ticket in the future? If you don't have the NFT on the blockchain, can't be duplicated. This is really a ticket to the game.
See, I've not spent too much time on researching how we can validate some of these, I want to say, artifacts or images, whether they're real or something like that. Although I did spend some time with some folks at Google who are coming up with technologies such as, if it is AI generated, it has to be watermarked. Or there are other models that are currently being released or either available, I'm not sure where they are. Some of them are in the sort of the beta phase where you can use, let's say you got, I don't know, I'm going to use the Lions tickets, right? And you don't know whether it's real or not. You can use those AI model to validate whether that is coming from a trusted source. Again, AI coming to the rescue here, but also responsible AI from the companies that are helping to create those images, saying that if I'm going to create an image of a Mona Lisa using my software, it's going to be watermarked, right? So, but again, it has to be the right balance. I'll give you a simple example. Just for the sake of it, I was Googling last week. I was writing in the Google search window. Give me an image of a person holding an automatic rifle, sitting in the company, right? It gave me many images. I could see people holding automatic rifles and all that. Then I went to Copilot. I said, give me an image of a person, a same prompt in Copilot. And Copilot said, I'm not going to do that. So there was a big disconnect for me, saying that, okay, are we becoming more hours? Are the models trained in such a way that is not giving me basic information that a search window is giving me, right? So that is where, sort of there's a fine line on how we do the governance on what these models are supposed to do versus what we are available to consumers using regular platforms. So that's where sort of the dilemma is, but I think how we solve that is where responsible AI comes in. Responsible AI is just not blocking stuff, but also making sure people get access to the right information. So I think that's
I just think that blockchain is going to help solve some of these problems.
Perhaps, yeah.